have Kunal in the studio to talk about this. And Kunal, well, I understand these stocks are largely based on news flow. What is your take on something like a textile stocks like KPR, Alok, Arvind, Vardhman? These are stocks we don't talk about very often. But then again, there are certain days where they see some action. Anything that you're covering from this pack?
Yeah, so I think many of these stocks are showing a gap up move, but what I also spot over here, Sneh, is that many of these stocks have come back to retrace from their intraday highs. That I believe could be a concern because if these are recovery moves for the stock, then we could be looking at the stock closing at the high point of the day and trying to protect the intraday highs, of course, on the back of higher volumes which are being seen today. So I believe that maybe the markets are looking at this as a little bit of a more speculative kind of a trade as of now. I would actually believe that potentially over the next couple of days, you might see these stocks just about trade into a bit of a consolidative mode. But I think if these stocks manage to hold on to the gap support what they've created today, and this gap doesn't closes for these stocks, say potentially over the next 2 or 3 trading sessions, then we can establish a case that we could be looking at a revival for many of the stocks. And names like Vardhman Textile, Arvind, Wellspun, Living, etc. I think many of these stocks are exhibiting a very similar kind of a chart pattern where there is a double bottom of sorts for these stocks after months of these stocks go into a correction. So the potential is there, but I believe that maybe one more level of a confirmation could be something which short-term traders can wait out for.
Okay, so that's your take on textile stocks. Kunal, what about IT? Given the kind of move we've seen in IT names today, anything like an Infosys, it's up 4%. I don't remember the last time we saw an intraday uptick of 4% on Infosys, even despite earnings, no matter what kind of earnings they have been, even in the best of quarters, we've not seen a 4% uptick. So, what are you making of this uptick today for Infosys and also the others that have seen the trickle effect like HCL, Wipro, TCS? How are they shaping up?
So I think the last time we may have seen a 3%, 4% kind of a move for Infosys was on the buyback news for the stock. That was almost like a month back approximately. But then I think this is a stupendous move for the Nifty IT Index at large, and of course for the most of the constituents on the IT stocks. Now, talking of the IT index specifically, it's not just a gap up move which you've seen for the IT stocks, but then there are a couple of interesting parameters which you look out for. Almost a month back, when the IT stocks went to that last leg of a corrective phase, you had seen a gap being formed for these IT index. That gap was closer to 36,000 to 5,300 levels. After today's candlestick up move, we've almost entirely filled that gap for the IT index. So that's a very strong indicator that we are looking at negating the entire bearishness or the last leg of bearishness for the IT index. And the second, the most important part, the RSI at current levels for the Nifty IT Index is almost perched at a 2 or a 3 month high, I think breaking the July highs for the Nifty IT Index. So this also indicates that indicators have started to get back into momentum. Prices should, in an ideal case, follow through. So I think in that sense, I would expect at least another 500 to 700 points rally on the IT Index at large over the next couple of trading sessions.
Okay, so that's the view with regard to IT. And Kunal, two financials, Shriram, Axis Bank. Very unlikely, at least in Axis Bank's case, because the last we spoke, you weren't particularly bullish with regard to where Axis Bank is concerned. Give us your take, what's happening there, and has anything changed with regard to the Axis Bank view? And Shriram Finance, this 2.5% move.
So Shriram Finance, we were bullish.
Yes.
In fact, last week I had given a buy call. My expectation was that the stock can't be left behind when you've seen the entire NBFC stroke HFC stocks making a comeback. Today, I think what the stock has done is it's given a dual breakout. We were discussing this is a weekly pattern breakout for Shriram Finance, a daily pattern breakout, but that's now engulfed into a weekly pattern breakout. So if the stock sustains, say tomorrow, which is the weekend, the last day of the week, if it closes above the 700 mark, then we could be looking at a much more bigger target for Shriram Finance, maybe in the range of 740 to 760 over the next maybe few odd weeks. So I think that's another trade to look out for. Axis Bank, I think, is a classical chart. There was this period where the stock had gained, I think, 8 or 9 days consecutively in September, somewhere or mid part of the September month. From there on, the stock has gone through a second level of an up move. It's crossed the 1250, 1260 barrier today. An excellent uptake for Axis Bank. Yes, a little bit unanticipated given the context of the markets where we are. But I believe that, of course, markets can take it with both hands.
16% move from July, or rather from even the beginning of September. That's a phenomenal move where Axis Bank is concerned. Okay. All right, what we'll do is we'll slip in a very short break, and on the other side, okay, before that, okay. Kunal, stock ideas.
So I'll go with a few buy calls. The first one is about Ujjivan Small Finance Bank, and I think after quite some time the stock is making a very strong comeback, breaking the levels of 50. So would look out for 55 as a target. Stop loss at 50 for Ujjivan Small Finance Bank. And the second would be something which we've been discussing over the last 1 month. Vodafone Idea, still at current levels of 9.5. It looks extremely attractive. I sense that the stock is going through a second level of a strong breakout on the upside further, and of course the volumes in this leg of up have been phenomenally on the higher side. So we look out for 10.5 as now the revised target, and stop loss could be till to 9.
Okay, Vodafone Idea making